seat back
What's up, Dame?
What's up, Dame?
What's
How
up,
you doing?
bro?
How you living, man?
What's up, bro?
Sort of thinking back to when you first broke into the league, do you remember the first time you shared the floor with somebody where you were kind of like, I can't believe I'm playing with this guy?
Kobe. My first game of my career. Opening night, we played the Lakers. It was Kobe, Dwight Howard, Powell, Antawn Jamison was like the best player on the Warriors like when I was younger. So that was a big one for me too, just playing against Antawn Jamison. Steve Nash was starting point guard. So I mean, I had it right away. First game of my career.
Dame, how did this three-point opportunity come about? How did you get here?
I mean, I was me and Michael Levine. You know, we super cool. We always checking on each other, talking, you know, just regular stuff. And we were talking about the break, what I was doing during the break, and I told him what my plans were. And I was like, if y'all need somebody to shoot, I'll come shoot. You know, I could use some competition, a little bit of pressure. You know, I'm in the empty gym every day. So he was like, man, that'd be awesome, but, you know, I don't know if it's a slot right now. And I was like, it's all good. So I made my plans. And then the day before they announced it, they asked, like, you know, like, are you serious? Would you do it? And I was like, yeah. And it was literally that simple.
Dame, I want to test the memory real quick. How did you score your first NBA field goal, and who was it on?
My first NBA field goal
Yes, sir.
was a corner three, but I stepped out of bounds, so it didn't count.
Correct. I did my research.
And then a couple possessions later, I made a deep three from the right wing.
On who?
Somebody went under a screen. I know that.
Steve Nash?
Steve Nash, yeah.
Well, and then one more real quick. If you had to gift a game-worn jersey from any game of your career to anybody in your life, what game would it be from, and who would you gift it to?
I would gift my jersey from. We had a game against Sacramento. I don't know if it was maybe 2018. And I had 50 points in the third quarter, or through three quarters.
And the third would have been crazy in one quarter.
And it was through three quarters, but it was my grandmother's last game seeing me play. And it was the first in a long time, so I would gift her that jersey.
What are the five stages of an Achilles?
Wait, hold on, we went that. Hey, that's my dog.
I got a question
right
for
here.
you.
What's up?
A younger Dame once said you don't compare yourself to nobody because you're always learning. Now, going into your 13th season, after the year you've had and the bounce back, what is the biggest lesson?
If I had to say the biggest lesson, I would just say, you know, to run your own race. You know, just focus on yourself. I think all that I've been through, just, you know, and not in a victim way. You know, I don't ever look at any of my circumstances as like, man, this happened to me. But I just focus on the things I can control. And, you know, tearing my Achilles was not in the plans. Getting waived was not in the plans. You know, but I just kept focusing on the positive things. And I ended up back on the team that I played my whole career with, back around my family, with my kids. You know, just in a very stable situation, you know, a familiar situation. Focusing on my rehab, and now, you know, this opportunity comes, you know, I get to compete. You know, I get to have that feeling being in front of a crowd again. So I would say just running my own race, you know, and not focusing on what this person is doing or that person is getting or any of those things. You know, I do what I do. I show up as myself. When other people experience good things, I'm happy for them. And, you know, I think that makes people appreciate your moments better. You know,
What are these stages of an Achilles recovery like, and how much have you been in touch with Jason through his, and are you guys in similar places? Like, what is that process like for both of you?
You said are the last stages?
The last stages, things you're doing at the moment.
Honestly, it's pretty similar all the way through. I think when you get in the later stages, it's just more so how sturdy your testing is, you know, how harsh is the scale that you're testing yourself on. And I think that's where I am, is like testing it in the most harsh way, putting it in the most vulnerable positions and seeing how it responds so I can know the truth about it.
Dame, what does that look like?
I feel good about it.
Yeah.
I think only people who experience this injury could really understand, like, what I'm saying, but it's like you test it in these ways. We like, oh, like it is okay, you know, and you keep pushing it and finding ways to. You're trying to find something that isn't right. That's kind of where you get to. You're trying to find anything that you can say, this not right, let's correct it. This not right, let me correct it. And that's the final stage. And you know, as far as JT, you know, we from the very beginning, you know, we've been kind of back and forth. Like, what you doing now? How you feel about this? Have you done this yet? You know, it's been like that. And I think over the last couple months, you know, we reached a comfortable enough position to just start really focusing on, like, we got a better idea of what's happening and just trying to get to the finish line.
What's legacy-defining moment for you? You still smile about when you think of it, and you're the most proud of.
You said a legacy-defining moment?
Yes, for you.
I mean, I think I've had a good amount of moments, but the thing, like, legacy-wise that I think of is just, it's what I think of when I think of the other great players during my time. You know, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, James Harden, LeBron James. You know, when I think of all of those guys, it's like what defines me, and I think those guys as well, is like, how long can you be great? Last year was my 13th season, and I was playing in an All-Star game. I made my first All-Star game in my second season. Being back here this weekend, like, to compete in another event, like, I'm able to sustain being who I am and doing what I do all these years later. So I think that's the most legacy-defining thing is, you know, not being great in a flash, you know, but being able to sustain that over well over a decade and still going. So,
And
how important has mental health been for you over the last few years, and what's your ways of dealing with it?
I think mental health is extremely important. You know, I think that's one battle that people fight, that most people fight silently. You know, is I think people carry shame with it. You know, you don't want people to look at you as weak and like you're struggling, or you don't want them to have too much sympathy or compassion for you because of how it might look. But for me, I think the greatest gift that I've had in my professional career is that, you know, I wasn't a child star. You know, I wasn't the #1 player in the country. I wasn't at a high major college and, you know, under a microscope and all of those things. It was like when I got to the NBA, people learned who I am. And because of that, you know, I've always had a normal family life. You know, my dad calls me and tells me what to do to this day. My mom tells me what to do. And my brother comes to my house. I go to his house. My nephews spend the night at my house. Like, but the dynamic of my family and my life is the same as it's always been, only adding the fact that, like, I am who I am today. But, you know, as far as mental health, I think I go through things like everybody, but I think I'm able to kind of withstand, you know, criticism or low moments or struggles or things like that because of, like, what I'm surrounded by, you know, my family. And I think that's the best way to describe how I deal with any type of mental hurdles or mental health issues. Is like we have that type of relationship to where, like, you know, my dad will come to Portland and be there, you know. My mom, you know, the other day I was just in my room and I heard the front door of my house open and somebody putting the code into my door, and it was my mom just walking in there, like. And I think a lot of us, you know, in this position, we kind of lose touch with that dynamic, and me and my family have not. So I think it really supports that side of the game, you know, where you're not dealing with all of these things in that type of way.
Would you just share a lot on for your Filipino fans?
I don't even know what it is.
Denny's evolution.
If you were to teach a masterclass on any basketball skill, what would it be?
If I could teach a master class on any basketball skill, some people might not say it's a basketball skill, but I would say character, because it's something that the greatest, to be one of the best, you need that. You know, it's something that'll carry you through everything that comes with being an athlete, especially a professional athlete, having character and being able to be that kind of person when it's your moment, when it's not your moment. when the coach is not picking you, when you're on the bench, when you're in a rotation, when you get traded, when you're not in front of people, when you are in front of people, I think it's something that people have to respect. And when people respect you, you know, a lot of things come with that when it's truly who you are.
Dan, you showed a lot of love for your Filipino fans in the best.
Denny's evolution this year, and have you kind of started to envision playing alongside him next year?
Yeah, I think it's been fun to watch, you know, just see Denny grow and evolve into the player that he's become to this point. Because I've never sat on a bench and just watched. You know, I think this is the first time in my career where I'm sitting there and I'm able to see practice every day without participating. I'm able to watch games every day, and I'm not emotionally tied to the game.
Yeah.
So I'm just watching. You know, I'm like, now I see how coaches sit there and watch the game and they nitpick everything because you see everything perfectly clear. But watching him is just, it's been fun mostly for me because I spend a lot of time seeing like how the dynamic, if I'm on the floor with him, goes. You know, I can learn him a lot better from this position than if I just came and had to play right away.
Yeah.
And I can sit in the huddles and listen to him, you know, and hear how he speaks and how he thinks and where he's coming from. So it's been fun from that perspective, but just seeing a young player that, you know, was picked high, you know, went to one team, you know, did okay, not well, and then to find himself on a team and then to blossom, like, because I've experienced it, not the changing teams part, but I've experienced that ascension and that figuring it out and going, like, I know how fun it is.
Yeah.
Like, I know what it means for a player, so to witness him doing it, you know, it's been special to witness.
You showed a lot of.
What you was about to say? I know you.
Even if that means that you might never win the championship,
Can you say that again?
would you be willing to spend your whole career with the Blazers, even if that means that you will never win the championship?
To start my career, that was how I felt, and I got waived. And when I had the opportunity to go to any team, like, I picked this team. So I picked the team because, for one, it's the team that I wanted to win the championship with all along, and two, the team is in position in my eyes to do that, especially with me being a part of it. So I think we do have a chance. So I mean, it was an easy decision.
All right, guys, thank you.
You showed a lot of love for your
Thank you.
Filipino.
Thank you.
Damian, can you just speak about the importance of representation during Black History Month?
It's always extremely important to represent our people. Being in the positions that we are in today, and knowing where our ancestors and our people come from, you know, the type of fight that had to be fought for us to have much less than we have today. It's important that we honor that, you know, today and every day going forward.
Thank you so much.
Nice seeing you, Dave.
Good to see you.
Guys, can we give him some space so he can actually